If you're over 60 and still eating the same bread you grew up on, you may be slowly poisoning your joints, wrecking your knees, and weakening your legs without even knowing it. Sound dramatic? It's not, because not all breads are created equal. Some are ultra-processed starch bombs that inflame your knees, swell your legs, and quietly rob you of your mobility. Others, rare ones, can actually help rebuild cartilage, soothe joint pain, and feed your muscles. But most seniors never get told the difference. Why? Because bread has been marketed as safe, whole, and even heart-healthy for decades, when in truth, the wrong kind of bread can be worse than soda for your legs and joints. And here's the scary part. You could be eating the healthy kind right now, the ones with a brown label, whole grain buzzwords, or multi-seed textures that look rustic and safe. Yeah, those. But recent research has shown that 4 specific types of bread, especially when eaten daily by people over 60, are directly linked to increased inflammation, accelerated cartilage breakdown, and even reduced balance and muscle strength. Let me say that again clearly. If your knees feel stiff every morning, if your ankles swell by mid-afternoon, if climbing stairs or walking long distances makes your legs ache, there's a high chance that your daily bread is making it worse, not better. And that quiet little slice on your plate, it might be the reason you're aging faster than you should. Here's what makes this worse. Many seniors eat more bread now than they did in their 30s. Toast for breakfast, sandwiches for lunch, and light, grainy breads with soup at dinner. It's comforting, it's affordable, but it's also silently sabotaging your strength. And no, switching to whole wheat doesn't save you. In fact, whole wheat is one of the top culprits we'll expose in today's countdown. Now imagine this for a second. You wake up, stretch your legs, and feel no cracking in your knees. You walk across the room without limping. Your joints don't throb after dinner. You feel stronger, more balanced, and in control. What changed? You swapped out 4 breads that were inflaming your joints. 4 better ones, backed by real science, that feed your muscles and protect your knees. It really is that simple. And we're going to show you exactly how to do it. In this video, we'll reveal the 4 most damaging breads to avoid after 60, even the ones labeled whole grain. The shocking reason why some healthy breads make your joints worse than white bread. And most importantly, the 4 breads you must eat daily to help your body fight joint stiffness, rebuild strength, and age without pain. But before we dive in, ask yourself something. If you've been waking up with leg cramps, if your walks are getting shorter, if you're silently accepting that your mobility is just part of aging, what if it's not your age? What if it's what you're eating every day without question? And what if the answer was as simple as changing your bread? Listen, no one else is going to tell you this. Not your doctor, not your favorite health blog, and definitely not the food companies. But we will, because here on Senior Health Daily, we spend over 30 hours per video researching what truly works for people over 60. No sponsors, no shortcuts, just real solutions for real seniors. So if this message already found you, if you're tired of watching your joints decline, then don't be the silent viewer. Tap subscribe and like this video right now, so YouTube shows it to more seniors who are suffering silently, just like you were. You could be the reason someone else finally finds relief today. Thank you. You've probably been told this one's the healthier option. You see the brown color, the rough texture, the whole grain label. You think you're doing your body a favor. But if you're over 60, whole wheat bread could be one of the sneakiest destroyers of your joint health. Let me explain. Whole wheat bread is marketed like a saint, rich in fiber, packed with nutrients better than white bread. And sure, in theory, it should be healthier. But there's a hidden danger few seniors realize. Modern whole wheat is not the same as the wheat our grandparents ate. Thanks to decades of industrialized farming and genetic modification, today's wheat contains much higher levels of amylopectin A, a fast-digesting starch that spikes your blood sugar faster than white sugar. Yes, faster than candy. Why does that matter for your joints and legs? Because every time your blood sugar spikes, your body produces a surge of insulin, followed by a wave of inflammation, a silent fire that inflames your joints, stiffens your muscles, and makes movement more painful. And that's not all. Whole wheat also contains wheat germ agglutinin and WGA, a plant lectin shown in studies to directly trigger inflammation in cartilage tissue, the very thing cushioning your knees, hips, and ankles. Let's be clear. You're trying to preserve your joints, not pour gasoline on the fire. And here's a kicker most people don't know. Modern whole wheat is often baked with added gluten, preservatives, and artificial sweeteners to make it taste better and last longer on shelves. Even multigrain breads often contain bleached flour as the primary ingredient. So while the label says whole grain, your body's getting blood sugar chaos, joint inflammation, gut irritation, and zero actual muscle support. Now here's the emotional gut punch. Imagine a senior named Clara, 67 years old, active most of her life. She switched from white bread to whole wheat to eat clean, but 6 months later, she started waking up with knee pain. Her evening walk shortened. She blamed age. But once she swapped out her so-called healthy bread, her inflammation dropped. She walks 3 miles now, pain-free. Her secret? Cutting the healthy bread that was betraying her joints. Clara's story isn't rare. It's becoming the new normal. Because we've been lied to. We've been told to fear white bread and worship brown bread. But in reality, both can be dangerous if you're over 60, especially if your body is already inflamed, your muscles are thinning, and your joints are vulnerable. So here's what you do. Check your bread label. If it says whole wheat and you're dealing with joint stiffness or leg weakness, it's time to make a change. And don't worry, we're not taking bread away from you. In fact, one of the breads you'll discover later in this video may become your new daily staple, a powerful, muscle-supporting bread your doctors never told you about. But for now, do your legs a favor. Skip the whole wheat. Your joints will thank you. Next up, bread number 3 to avoid. Another one that fools millions of seniors because of a single misleading word on the package. Now this one might really surprise you. Multi-grain bread. The kind that looks hearty, packed with seeds, grains, and full of fiber, is one of the most deceptive breads on the shelf, especially for seniors over 60. It looks healthy. It sounds healthy. It even feels healthy when you hold it in your hand. But behind that rustic appearance lies a trap that could be weakening your legs, inflaming your joints, and making your body age faster than it should. Here's the truth. Multi-grain doesn't mean whole grain. Let that sink in. The word multi-grain just means more than one type of grain was used. That's it. It doesn't mean those grains are whole. It doesn't mean they're healthy. And it certainly doesn't mean they're good for your joints. In fact, many multi-grain breads are made from refined white flour, just like white bread, cornmeal, soy flour, barley flour, and even processed rice flour, all of which can spike your blood sugar, promote chronic inflammation, and wreak havoc on your circulation and joint tissues. Now, think about what happens when your body is hit with inflammation day after day. Your knees begin to swell. Your fingers start to stiffen. You lose balance when getting up. Walking becomes tiring, even dangerous. That's not aging. That's your food fighting against you. Multi-grain bread also contains a complex web of hidden sugars, syrups, and industrial oils like canola or soybean oil, both of which are known to aggravate arthritis and damage the gut lining, which is critical for nutrient absorption. And here's where it gets even worse. Many multi-grain breads are dyed brown with caramel coloring to make them look more natural. So seniors believe they're eating whole foods, when really, they're eating the same metabolic poison as white bread, just disguised with seeds and color. Let's put a face to this disaster. Meet Harold, age 72. He thought he was making better choices, switching from white bread to a fancy multigrain loaf. But 6 months later, his ankles were always swollen. He couldn't keep up on walks. His doctor started discussing early signs of peripheral neuropathy. Turns out his so-called healthy bread was flooding his body with refined carbs and inflammatory oils multiple times a day. Once he made the switch to a better option, one you'll hear later in this video, his inflammation dropped, circulation improved, and he got his steady legs back. Here's the kicker. Multigrain is a marketing term, not a nutritional guarantee. It exists to trick well-meaning shoppers, especially seniors, into thinking they're choosing something nourishing. But for your legs, your knees, your muscles, it's doing the exact opposite. So next time you see a loaf labeled multigrain, flip it over. If the first ingredient is enriched flour, unbleached flour, or anything but 100% whole grains with no additives, toss it back on the shelf. You deserve real fuel, not a pretty lie wrapped in a brown package. And coming up, we'll reveal a truly nourishing bread, one used by ancient cultures to preserve muscle and mobility well into old age. But first, let's talk about another bread hiding in plain sight, one that's become a staple for diabetics, Weight Watchers, and seniors alike, but could be silently tearing apart your gut and joints from the inside. Next up, bread number 2 to avoid. This one's marketed as low carb and safe for diabetics, but you'll see why seniors must stay far away. Now, this one might sting because it's sold as a safe choice for diabetics, weight loss, and yes, even seniors. Low carb, keto, zero sugar, high fiber. It sounds like everything you want in a healthy bread, right? But here's what most people over 60 don't know. Keto breads are some of the most ultra-processed, chemically engineered frankenfoods on the shelf, and they can wreak havoc on your gut, joints, and immune system. Let's start with what these breads are made from. To keep the carb count low and hit that magical zero net carbs label, most keto breads are made with a cocktail of modified starches, synthetic fibers like resistant tapioca or inulin, artificial gums, xanthan gum, guar gum, industrial oils, and worst of all, vital wheat gluten. The problem? Each of these ingredients might be fine in isolation, but when combined in ultra-processed form, they can disrupt your gut microbiome, spike inflammatory markers, and even increase intestinal permeability, aka leaky gut. And guess what happens when your gut lining is compromised? Inflammatory compounds leak into your bloodstream. Your immune system goes on red alert, and your joints pay the price with swelling, stiffness, and long-term damage. But that's not the only problem. Keto breads are also notoriously low in nutrients. Because they cut out traditional flours, they lack the vitamins, minerals, and natural fibers your muscles and bones need, especially after 60. So seniors who eat keto bread, thinking they're doing something clean, may actually be starving their tissues of magnesium, potassium, B vitamins, and iron, nutrients vital for joint repair, muscle recovery, and blood flow. Now, let's zoom in on someone like Evelyn. She's 68, recently diagnosed with prediabetes. She was told to avoid carbs, so she turned to keto bread, toast for breakfast, sandwich at lunch, a slice with soup at night. 3 months in, she had sharp bloating, irregular bowel movements, knee swelling, and tightness in her fingers she hadn't felt before. Her doctor blamed age and inflammation, but the real culprit was sitting right in her pantry. Once Evelyn switched to a gentler, naturally fermented whole food-based bread, we'll cover it soon, her symptoms eased, her joints relaxed, and she was walking further again. Now, here's the harsh reality most won't tell you. Keto breads are built in labs, not kitchens. And while they look harmless and sound healthy, they're not real food. They're edible formulas. And for a senior's digestive system, already more sensitive and slower to repair, these chemical combinations are a ticking time bomb. They may not spike your blood sugar, but they will spike your inflammation. They may not contain carbs, but they will weaken your digestion, your joints, and your ability to absorb nutrients. So, does this mean you need to eat high-carb bread again? No. There are better options coming up. Breads that are naturally low-glycemic, anti-inflammatory, and time-tested across generations. But first, one more common bread to avoid. And this one, it's in nearly every household. Yet it's been stripped of everything good and loaded with preservatives that could accelerate arthritis, muscle loss, and gut damage after 60. Next up, bread number one to avoid, the most common, most dangerous, and most deceptively harmless bread of all. Let's not sugarcoat it. White bread is the single most destructive bread for people over 60, and yet it's still found in nearly every home. Why? Because it's cheap, soft, familiar. It's the bread we grew up on. But here's the painful truth. If you're still eating white bread past age 60, you are feeding the very inflammation, weakness, and joint pain you're trying to escape. Let's start with how white bread is made. Unlike whole grain bread, white bread is made from refined wheat flour, which means all the fiber is stripped away. All the vitamins and minerals are lost. The structure of the grain is destroyed. What's left behind? A fast-digesting starch with zero real nutrition, and a glycemic index that's higher than soda, ice cream, and yes, even some candy bars. When you eat white bread, your blood sugar spikes almost immediately. Your body responds with a flood of insulin, which leads to fat storage, blood vessel stress, and most damaging for seniors, chronic low-grade inflammation. But the destruction doesn't stop there. White bread is also one of the most acid-forming foods in the modern diet. And after 60, your body naturally becomes more acidic due to slower kidney function and lower muscle mass. This acidic load forces your body to leach minerals like calcium and magnesium from bones and joints just to stay balanced. So not only are you inflaming your joints, you're also weakening your bones and accelerating muscle loss. And remember, muscle is the organ of longevity. Once you start losing muscle, everything else declines faster. Balance, strength, circulation, immunity. White bread also contains a cocktail of additives, bleaching agents like azotocarbonamide, preservatives that disrupt gut bacteria, added sugars that worsen insulin resistance, and emulsifiers that have been linked to gut permeability issues. The result? Seniors who eat white bread daily often experience leg cramps, joint swelling, sluggish digestion, low energy, and greater risk of falls due to weak lower body strength. Now, let me share a real-life moment that might hit home. Frank was 74. He didn't eat much junk food. He walked daily. But he had toast every morning and a sandwich every afternoon. He thought he was aging normally. His knees ached, his thighs weakened, and his posture slumped. But when he replaced white bread with a naturally fermented, slow-carb alternative, everything changed. Within 3 weeks, his knees cracked less. His energy returned. His balance felt stronger. He said, "I thought I was just old. Turns out I was just inflamed." Frank's not alone. And neither are you. White bread is more than outdated. It's toxic to aging bodies. It offers nothing but empty calories, inflammation, and erosion. And the worst part? It tricks you into feeling full, while giving your joints absolutely nothing to rebuild with. It's time to retire this bread permanently. Because coming up next, we reveal the 4 breads you should eat every day. starting with a nutrient-dense classic that fights inflammation and actually feeds your muscles after 60. Next up, bread number one to eat daily. And this one is obscure, forgotten by most, but scientifically proven to strengthen muscles and joints. This bread has been forgotten by modern food companies, overlooked by doctors, and buried beneath the noise of trendy grains and gluten-free fads. But for seniors over 60, einkorn bread may be one of the most powerful, healing breads you can eat daily for stronger joints, better mobility, and muscle protection. Let's start with a story. Over 12,000 years ago, humans first began cultivating a humble grain in the Fertile Crescent, the cradle of civilization. That grain was einkorn, the original unmodified wheat, far older than the wheat we use today. Back then, people lived without chemicals, synthetic fertilizers, or hybridized crops. They baked bread slowly, fermented it naturally, and used einkorn as the base for nourishment that sustained farmers, warriors, and the elderly alike. So what makes einkorn so different from the modern wheat in your supermarket? Here's the game changer. Unlike modern wheat, einkorn contains a different type of gluten that is far less inflammatory, while not gluten-free. Its structure is simpler and easier to digest, especially for older adults with gut sensitivity. In one 2020 clinical review published in Frontiers in Nutrition, einkorn was found to cause significantly less intestinal inflammation compared to modern wheat, particularly in individuals prone to food sensitivities or leaky gut. This matters, because once your gut is calm, your body can absorb nutrients again, the very nutrients that help rebuild cartilage, muscle fibers, and connective tissue in your legs. Einkorn naturally contains more protein than modern wheat, higher levels of lutein and zeaxanthin, antioxidants that fight joint degeneration, magnesium and manganese, essential for bone density and muscle strength, and B vitamins, which support energy metabolism and reduce muscle fatigue. This isn't just bread, it's fuel for movement. Despite being a grain, einkorn has a lower glycemic index than regular white, or even whole wheat bread. This means less blood sugar spike, less insulin flooding your system, and reduced inflammation in your knees, hips, and legs. Plus, it helps stabilize energy, which reduces that mid-afternoon crash many seniors feel after meals. Unlike modern wheat, einkorn hasn't been hybridized or genetically modified. It remains in its original ancient form, making it easier for the body to recognize, digest, and utilize. Now, let's bring this to life. Diana, 69, had stopped eating bread entirely after her doctor warned her about inflammation. She missed the comfort of toast, the joy of a warm sandwich. Then she discovered einkorn bread, baked fresh at a local health store. 2 weeks after switching, she reported less joint stiffness in the morning, more stamina on her walks, and best of all, her doctor noticed lower inflammatory markers in her blood work. She called einkorn the bread that gave me my knees back. And it's not just her. Across Europe, especially in parts of Italy and Germany, seniors are returning to ancient grains like einkorn and seeing powerful results in mobility, digestion, and strength. So how do you use it? Look for 100% einkorn on the label, not blends. Prefer sourdough-style einkorn if available, extra digestive benefits. Use it for toast, sandwiches, or with olive oil as a healing snack. Just 1 or 2 slices a day can feed your muscles, ease your joints, and satisfy your cravings without the crash, stiffness, or inflammation. And here's a tip. If you can't find it in your local store, look online for trusted bakers or brands that ship fresh-baked einkorn loaves to your door. Coming up next, a bread that's even more common, but often overlooked. It's loaded with fiber, gentle on blood sugar, and surprisingly powerful at supporting circulation and joint fluidity. It's dense, it's dark, and it's often misunderstood. But rye bread might just be one of the most underrated tools in your fight against weak legs, stiff joints, and poor blood flow after 60. Let's bust the first myth. Rye bread isn't just another version of wheat bread. It's made from a completely different grain, rye, which has its own unique structure, fiber profile, and anti-inflammatory compounds. In fact, studies show that rye bread has several joint-friendly advantages for older adults that typical wheat breads just can't compete with. Let's break it down. In a 2014 study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, researchers found that whole grain rye bread reduced levels of C-reactive protein, CRP, a key marker of systemic inflammation, more effectively than wheat bread. Why does that matter? Because chronic inflammation is the number one enemy of your joints. When your CRP levels stay high, your body breaks down collagen, cartilage, and joint fluid faster, leading to swollen knees, stiff ankles, joint grinding and popping, and eventually loss of mobility. By swapping your bread for rye, you may be reducing the silent damage happening every time you eat. Rye is packed with a special type of soluble fiber called arabinoxolin, which has been shown to lower LDL, bad cholesterol, improve artery flexibility, and increase blood flow, especially to the lower limbs. Poor circulation is one of the most overlooked reasons why seniors feel heaviness in their legs, get tired quickly, or develop cold feet and varicose veins. Rye helps restore better blood flow, which also delivers more oxygen and nutrients to tired muscles. More oxygen equals better healing, better strength, and less fatigue. Rye bread has a lower glycemic index than white wheat or even some multi-grain breads. That means it digests slowly and prevents the sugar spikes and crashes that can trigger inflammation and fatigue. A study in diabetes care showed that rye-based meals lead to less insulin release and more satiety, both crucial for seniors trying to manage weight, blood sugar, and energy levels. Here's something most people don't know. Your gut health affects your joints. When your microbiome is off balance, your immune system becomes overactive and starts attacking your own tissues, including cartilage and tendons. Rye bread acts like a prebiotic, feeding beneficial gut bacteria that help regulate inflammation from the inside out. Better gut health, better joint resilience, better balance, and mobility. In Finland, where rye bread is part of daily life, seniors have some of the lowest arthritis rates in Europe. Elderly populations there eat dense, fermented rye bread regularly, often served with anti-inflammatory toppings like cold smoked fish or cultured butter. Many in their 70s and 80s still ski, cycle, and walk several miles a day, pain-free. And rye bread is a consistent part of their nutritional base. Look for 100% whole rye or sprouted rye, not rye blend or rye-flavored breads. The darker and denser, the better. Pair with healthy fats, olive oil, avocado, or clean protein for joint nourishment. Avoid rye with added sugar or preservatives. Bottom line, rye isn't just an old-fashioned bread. It's a natural circulatory booster, a joint protector, and a smart daily habit that can keep your legs moving longer. And coming up next, a simple, satisfying bread that's often overlooked, but maybe your best friend for easing joint stiffness and building lower body muscle. This isn't just any bread. Sprouted grain bread is a living, breathing nutritional machine, literally sprouted from seeds that are just beginning to grow. And for seniors, this makes a huge difference. Unlike traditional breads made from dead, processed flour, sprouted grain bread is created from grains that have been soaked, germinated, and awakened. The result? You get a bread that's easier to digest, less inflammatory, and packed with natural enzymes, bioavailable nutrients, and amino acids that help protect your joints, fight stiffness, and preserve muscle mass. And yes, it's been backed by science. Here's the key difference. When grains are sprouted, they unlock dormant nutrients. A study published in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry found that sprouting wheat increases vitamin C, vitamin E, ferulic acid, a natural anti-inflammatory, and polyphenol that help reduce oxidative stress in aging joints. This means you're not just eating bread. You're eating a functional food that actively fights the wear and tear happening inside your knees, hips, and back every single day. As we age, digestion slows down. Many seniors struggle with bloating, indigestion, and food sensitivities, especially to traditional wheat. Most breads contain phytic acid and enzyme inhibitors, which can block the absorption of key minerals like magnesium for muscle strength, calcium for bones, zinc for immune and joint health. But when grains are sprouted, these anti-nutrients drop dramatically. That means more minerals get absorbed, feeding your joints instead of inflaming them. And bonus, sprouted bread is easier on the stomach, reducing the bloating that many older adults silently suffer with. Many seniors don't get enough protein, especially plant-based protein that supports lean muscle mass without causing kidney strain. Sprouted grain bread provides all 9 essential amino acids when made from multiple grains like sprouted wheat, barley, lentils, millet, spelt. This makes it a complete protein source, rare for plant foods. Just 2 slices of high-quality sprouted bread can give you up to 10 grams of natural protein to help build stronger legs, improve balance, reduce falls, and speed up healing from joint damage. You probably heard of Ezekiel bread. It's inspired by a biblical recipe from the book of Ezekiel, made entirely of sprouted grains and legumes. And today, it's become a go-to among fitness experts, longevity doctors, and yes, even physical therapists, because of its nutrient density and anti-inflammatory benefits. Many seniors who switch to Ezekiel-style sprouted bread report less joint stiffness, better digestion, and more energy to move around after just a few weeks. In one case, a 72-year-old arthritis sufferer in California replaced her regular toast with sprouted bread and noticed she could walk farther without pain within 2 months. Coincidence? Probably not. How to choose the right sprouted bread. Look for labels that say 100% sprouted grains or live sprouted bread. Avoid ones with added sugar, seed oils, or preservatives. Keep it refrigerated. These breads spoil faster because they're alive. Try toasting it and pair it with nut butter, avocado, or even boiled eggs for a complete anti-inflammatory breakfast. Bottom line, sprouted bread isn't just good for you. It's alive, it's powerful, and it gives your joints, muscles, and gut exactly what they need to keep you strong, steady, and mobile after 60. Still with me? Good. Because bread number 4 is one that most seniors completely overlook. Yet it may be the missing piece in your pain-free walking routine. Let's face it, many seniors have been unknowingly sabotaging their legs, joints, and heart with one slice of bread at a time. Why? Because most conventional breads send your blood sugar soaring, leading to inflammation, joint stiffness, and dangerous fat around the belly and arteries. But rye bread is different, very different. It's low glycemic, rich in circulation-supporting nutrients, and it's been used for centuries in cultures that rarely suffer from joint pain, even well into old age. And for seniors over 60, rye bread can be a total game changer. Let's get right to it. A 2010 study in the journal Nutrition Journal found that rye bread causes significantly lower blood sugar responses compared to wheat bread, even when calories are matched. Why does that matter? Because every blood sugar spike triggers a flood of inflammatory compounds in your bloodstream, especially advanced glycation end products AGEs. These AGEs damage collagen in your joints, stiffen blood vessels, and accelerate aging. So every morning you eat white toast, you might be silently feeling inflammation in your knees, hips, fingers, and back. But swap that for rye bread, you get slow-releasing energy, fewer sugar crashes, and much less internal inflammation. That means easier mornings, smoother walking, and a sharper brain to boot. Magnesium is one of the most underappreciated minerals for joint, muscle, and nerve health. Yet studies show that nearly 70% of adults over 60 are deficient. Here's what magnesium does. Loosens stiff muscles, reduces nerve pain, calms muscle cramps, and helps produce collagen to rebuild damaged joints. Just 2 slices of rye bread can give you up to 20% of your daily magnesium needs, in a form that your body can absorb without added pills. And that means fewer cramps in your legs at night and more strength during the day. Ever feel bloated, constipated, or just heavy after eating bread? Rye can help. It contains soluble fiber, specifically arabinoxalins, which feed your gut bacteria, improve digestion, and help your body absorb more nutrients like calcium for bones, iron for energy, zinc for immunity. One study from the University of Helsinki found that rye bread reduced bloating, improved digestion, and even help with weight loss more than regular wheat bread. And when your gut feels better, so do your joints, because poor digestion is closely linked to autoimmune flare-ups like arthritis. In Finland, Sweden, and Denmark, where rye bread is part of the daily diet, rates of obesity, diabetes, and arthritis are among the lowest in the Western world. For generations, these countries have relied on dense, hearty rye breads as a breakfast staple. In fact, a study published in the Scandinavian Journal of Rheumatology noted that older adults who consumed rye bread at least 3 times per week had better joint flexibility and less inflammation markers in their blood. Coincidence? Hardly. Rye has been part of joint-friendly longevity diets for centuries. Here's how to choose the right rye bread. Look for 100% whole rye or dark rye on the label. Avoid light rye or rye-flavored breads. They often contain wheat. Dense and slightly sour? That's a good sign. That's the real stuff. Best served toasted with grass-fed butter, salmon, or a slice of boiled egg. So if you've been feeling slower lately, if your knees don't bend like they used to, or if you're battling stubborn weight and blood sugar swings, swap that ultra-processed loaf for rye bread and give your circulation, joints, and muscles what they've been begging for. And now, let's pause for just a moment. Think about what you just learned. You now know the 4 breads silently aging your joints, inflaming your gut, and draining your strength 1 slice at a time. And you now know 4 powerful alternatives, from the humble rye to the ancient einkorn, that don't just fill your stomach, but help rebuild the body you're trying so hard to preserve. But let me ask you something. How many years did it take you to finally hear this information? How many decades of pain, stiffness, bloating, and doctor visits went by, while the right foods were sitting quietly on some health food shelf, ignored? You see, the truth is, the system doesn't care. They'll push you toward pills, creams, injections, but not once do they ask, what bread are you eating each morning? And yet, as you've seen today, that one choice could be making or breaking your health after 60. Not tomorrow, not next year, but now, because bread isn't an occasional treat. It's daily, it's ritual, and over time, daily decisions become decades of consequences. That's why our mission here at Senior Health Daily goes far beyond just sharing interesting facts. We're here to expose the overlooked, to defend seniors like you, and to rebuild trust in your own body through forgotten wisdom, not pharmacy scripts. Let's be honest again. We don't have a giant budget. We don't have some massive team of experts, influencers, or doctors shouting into a mic. We have something better. Time, truth, and heart. Every single video takes over 30 hours to research, write, fact-check, and build. We dig through studies most people will never see. We test, we rewrite, we re-record, because we know your health deserves it. And yet, most viewers just watch and move on. They learn the secrets, and vanish, leaving the algorithm blind to how many lives this could truly help. But not you. If you've come this far, if you felt the aha moment click inside your mind today, then don't be the silent viewer. We're counting on you to help us stay alive. Here's how. Tap the like button. That tiny act tells YouTube this matters. Show it to more seniors who need it. Leave a comment. Even just one sentence about your experience with bread or what shocked you most today. And subscribe so you never miss the life-saving info your doctor rushed past. Because the truth is, if we disappeared tomorrow, would you notice? Would anyone else show up with this kind of honesty, this kind of research, this kind of heart? Probably not. That's why your support doesn't just help you. It helps the next 60-year-old who's feeling confused, bloated, and broken, and just needs someone to tell them the truth. So be the reason they find this. Be the reason we're still here next week. Hit subscribe. Now we want to hear from you. Which of the bad breads surprised you the most? Have you tried any of the good ones, like sprouted or sourdough rye? Drop your story in the comments. Your words could help another senior finally connect the dots. And don't forget to share this with your spouse, neighbor, or even your doctor. You never know who needs it more than they're willing to admit. Because when your health starts improving quietly, others will start to ask, "Wait, what did you change?" And you can smile knowing it started with bread. Thank you for watching. From all of us at Senior Health Daily, stay strong, stay sharp, and stay supported. We'll see you in the next one. And remember, you are not alone. Subscribe today. Be the reason someone finds this message tomorrow.